Today I'm going to talk about something I call technology and memory reversals. I don't know what else to call it. It's not quite, almost fits, but I'll tell you a little story. I'll say a couple of things, make a few comments about technology. I was, it was about 2 years ago, I guess. I was either going into or leaving, coming out of a convenience store, and I stopped and had a conversation with a gentleman. And we were just talking about this or that, the weather, and there was a screeching of tires and almost an accident on the street not far from us. Brought up the subject of car accidents, and he said to me, oh man, he was distressed. Distress came over his face, and he said to me, my daughter, I guess she was, I'm guessing 18, 20 years old, got into a car accident 5 years ago. She didn't have her seatbelt on, her face went right into the windshield, and it really destroyed her face. She's had X amount of reconstructive surgeries since then. And he says, I got a picture of her face after the accident. You want to see it? And he pulled out his phone. And I said, no, I don't want to see it. And I should have said to him, you really should delete that picture. 5 years, who knows how many times he's looked at it to, I don't know what the right word would be, to mourn the destruction of his daughter's face. To constantly be reliving that memory and that feeling, it can't be a good thing. We as human beings forget. And there's a good purpose in forgetting. Sometimes, you want to forget some things, or you want them to fade from your memory. Because in the case of something like that, a traumatic experience that he endured, let alone that his daughter endured, but a traumatic experience that he endured, he needs to heal from that and move forward and continue on in his life. But having the pictures, and who knows, maybe even video, on his phone that he could refer to on a regular basis, to even bring it up to a stranger to see, I don't think is healthy. And that's something that technology is bringing us that we're not capable of really prudently understanding yet. That's one of the negatives about this. Now, when it comes to pictures and videos and stuff, I have a lot. I'm not a phone user. I have one, rarely use it, a smartphone. I had a flip phone for 10 years and never used that. But having pictures of travels and different things and family, and it can be, I guess, can be a wonderful experience. Because oftentimes it will evoke memories, or finding an old picture of something will evoke memories, and tickle something in your brain to remind you of a feeling or a place or a thought you hadn't had in a long time, I guess. So there's a positive there. I think it's a positive. But there are definitely downfalls to this technology like this. We need to forget sometimes. And now let me look on the reverse, and this is where the reverse comes in. Because I think, sometimes we need to remember. And technology is oftentimes hobbling our ability to remember. Telephone numbers are a good example. When I was a kid growing up, you had this little library of telephone numbers in your head that you could recall and use to call somebody on the phone. And who does that now? The phone does it all for you. You don't have to remember any of that stuff. And I think it's, to the point where having the world's information at our fingertips enables us, or I don't even want to say disables us, into not having to remember anything. And, I guess you could say the jury is out on whether or not that's good or bad. What other ways we've improved in terms of abilities, mental abilities. I guess we have the ability to process enormous amounts of information faster and quicker and synthesize things from that, I guess. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. People used to be able to, I guess because they kind of had to, recite long poems and songs and passages and histories, stories, verbatim. Hear it a time, maybe a few times, and then recall it and repeat it accurately. I don't know, who does that now? 100 years ago, maybe even 50 years ago, people would memorize speeches and then give the whole speech an hour from recollection, and nobody, I don't know, can anybody do that now? So the fabric, I don't know what you would call it, the landscape of what the human brain has been asked to do has changed significantly in the past 15 years. And I guess that's one of the beautiful things about the human brain is the pliability, the ability to adapt. But I still think, as in many other indicators that are going on in this world and what we're seeing, is we're moving further and further away from what it is, what we're meant to be as human beings. What the whole purpose and meaning of all this is. And we're outwardly, inwardly, maliciously, surreptitiously being hijacked, manipulated by these human behaviors. These human behaviors are being taken advantage of, so to control us and to get us to think in certain ways, to get us to think about certain things, or to behave in certain ways. So this is all a foggy path. We're on a very foggy path, and I think we're going in the wrong direction. Well, thank you. This is a short little talk.